Back for round number 3. Our opponent wins the die roll this time. Rats. But, I guess rats off to him. But this is an acceptable 7-card hand. We have 2 creatures, 2 sources of mana, and 3 protection. Pieces of protection. So I'll go ahead and keep it off and see what we're dealing with here. And I think I'll lead with Crusader again. Temple of Silence. No idea what that is. Yeah, we'll go ahead and lead with the Crusader. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I think it's better than leading with Drum, but maybe I'm wrong. It looks like an Esper control, maybe? I'm gonna crash for 1 here, actually. I don't care if he kills this Crusader. I'll just protect one of these other 3 creatures. Alright, playing against a control deck will be interesting. This will be our first foray in the control matchup. So, alright. Probably like an O-Ring, if I'd take a guess. Maybe like Ashiok. Hero's Downfall, okay. Yeah, another Crusader I think is our best bet here. And I can protect this Crusader from another removal spell with God's Willing. I think I'm going to go ahead and God's Willing right now, just to get another creature out there. And I want to keep that on top. Now, I don't want to overextend into like an end hostilities, so I'm not going to add anything else to the board. And I think what gets taken off this Thoughtseize here is going to say a lot too. So if they take like a creature, it's probably end hostilities. If they take one of these protection spells, it's probably just spot removal spells. Alright, took God's Willing, so it's probably some spot removal spells. So now I have to decide if I play Seeker or not. So if I play the Seeker, if I don't play anything and my opponent plays Elspeth, I'm in really bad shape. But if I do play something and they play End Hostilities, I'm in really bad shape. I guess I'll play the Trailblazer out. I mean, I figured taking God's Willing suggests not having hostilities, but they could still have hostilities too. Hopefully there's like a hero's downfall here or something like that. I'm in a position though where if I draw a ascendancy, I can just win. Interesting. This is a tough situation to be in here. I think I'm content to wait, I think. Again, if I draw ascendancy, then I can just pretty much win. My opponent only has one blue source, so I'm not worried about dissolve or anything like that. I think that playing a little bit more conservatively here in the face of 5 cards and just passing the turn without making a play seems correct. Let's see what this is. Ashiok. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all. Alright, what's the exile zone? Okay. Well, we unfortunately lost some really good cards, but it's fine. I think it's safe to Dragon Mantle this Trailblazer. As I don't think Bioblade can happen. Swift Spear, okay. Maybe I should have hit the Crusader, I'm not sure. Either way, I think I'm just going to attack for 5. Not at Ashiok, I'm going to attack my opponent. Just because I want... This attack puts them dead next turn, basically. And Ashiok's still 2 turns from doing anything. So that seems like the right play. Alright, so let's see what we lost this time. A couple of lands and a drum. Drum Monastery. I have to decide, do I want to try to go for it here? I think that I should. So I'm going to start with a Dragon Mantle on a Crone Crusader. If the response is a removal spell, I can add mana with Springleaf Drum. One, two, three, four. Pump for 5. And we'll go ahead and pump this once. So this is 5 damage, forcing a response, basically. Downfall the Trailblazer, so now I can Defiant Strike this, which is going to put a creature into play and pump it. And I draw a card. And now I can use this new creature and the drum to pump Dragon Mantle for lethal. Okay, cool. That was a sweet win. That was really cool, actually. I like that a lot. Okay, so we're playing against a control deck, so what do we not want? What do we want? What do we not want? There's Ashiok, Hero's Downfall. I'm going to assume there's End Hostilities and also... I think End Hostilities and Drown in Sorrow are both a safe bet. So I want these Skulkers, and I want the Negates and Disdainful Stroke. Maybe just Stroke might actually not be that good. I want Ajani's Presence, though. I don't want Jeskai Charm. And I don't think I want, like, Helix. I think, again, I cut, like, drums and Helixes. And I actually want all my creatures, I think. So I just want all my creatures. And I want to cut all the Helixes in one drum. So we can't combo off anymore, but we can just play a creature game. Maybe I'm supposed to keep one more drum and only play 3 Seekers. That way, I don't want to wreck my mana base. Like, drum might be part of the mana base too much. No, let's cut the other drum. Try that. And maybe I'm supposed to bring in the Disdainful Stroke as well for End Hostilities, or Elspeth, or things of that nature. But from the way that game played out, it looks like that deck just has a ton of cheap spells. They're going to have Drown in Sorrow, maybe Ram, things like that. So I don't want to overload on cards like a Disdainful Stroke. Doesn't seem that great. I don't think Ram is actually kind of annoying, but I don't think it's game breaking against me because I can go wider than Ram with a Crone Crusader, or I can use like Dragon Mantle and things, or Jeskai Ascendancy to just push through the Ram. So we'll see. I might bring in Erase if I see like Banishing Light and Ram. I'm gonna bring in Erase. So we'll see what happens in this game here. I mean, I'm gonna keep this hand because we have a bunch of cantrips to go with our Swift Spear to draw into extra lands. So this is not an optimal hand, certainly, but it feels like a keep to me, especially on the draw. I feel like there's a good shot of us, you know, being able to basically draw out of it. Because we drew the land, I'm not interested in casting a spell on my Swift Spear because of Bile Blight. So Jeskai Ascendancy is an interesting one. I'm gonna actually bottom it. Might be a mistake to do that. Alright, here I'm gonna go for the Defiant Strike. Hopefully don't get blown up by Bile Blight. But if there is a Bile Blight, I can just play this other Swift Spear. Also, we're representing God's Willing, which might make our opponent really nervous about playing a Bile Blight here. It's also something to keep in mind. The long pause here though makes me definitely think that there's definitely a Bile Blight. So now if I play this Defiant Strike, still dies to Blight. Alright, well maybe that was a mistake. Yeah, that was probably wrong. For some reason I thought that the second strike would save us from the Blight, but it did not. Card was left on top of library. I think we're still in fine position here. That's a good one. Here I feel safe with the Defiant Strike again, since we have the Gods Willing to protect. Or the Presence. Now we have a Willing and a Presence. Which is pretty nice. I'm fine resting on these laurels. I'm glad we put the Ascendancy on the bottom too, because we're really itching for a land. I should have upkeeped a something, I think, maybe. Alright, we hit the land, that's pretty sweet. I actually really like our position here a lot. 5 cards in hand, but you know, we're still looking fine. Is this Jace's Ingenuity? Oh, well, that's kind of bad. I wish I had been able to keep open that negate, but I mean, I could have kept open the negate, but it just didn't seem right here. I'd rather try to develop my mana base. Alright, the card is again on top of the library, so be interested to see what it is. Drown in Sorrow. I think we'll save from that with God's willing. Skulker. I'm gonna bottom that as much as I don't want to because we just don't have the lands to support it. Another God's willing is a good draw. Let's go ahead and Dragon Mantle. I think I hit for just 2. That way I can keep open Presence, Willing, and Negate. And I think this pause here in end step really signifies a likely Bile Blight. Okay, yeah. It really felt like a Bile Blight there to me. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Alright, I like the Trailblazer actually. Let's go ahead and just attack, and I think just 1. And I'm actually fine playing the Trailblazer here because we can negate any kind of sweeper effect. So like an end hostilities, I can negate an end hostilities here. This feels like dig through time. So I want to counter this dig through time, but I don't think that I can because I think I need to use my negate more proactively. Like my opponent already has a million cards in hand. I want to use my negate more proactively on like let's say my opponent taps out this turn for um like an end hostilities, then I can negate that. And I want to set up a turn where I just kill my opponent, you know, the turn they tap out for stuff. So like here it's going to be like end hostilities, I'll negate it. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and try to negate this. And now I actually like if my opponent doesn't have like dissolve, if they don't have a counterspell, I really like my position here. Even through a downfall, I think that the combination of these two cards is enough to win through a downfall. Or like a Bile Blade here or something. Two, three, four, five, six, seven. Yeah. So let's say that they go for like a Bile. Okay, Bile Blight in response. So now I can God's Willing this. Choose black. Scry that to the bottom. So now I can presence this for 2, triggering prowess on this, and then pump 3 times. I should have lethal this turn. So let's go ahead and let's see. If I play presence on this, that's going to be 2 counters here. So this would be one for the presence and 1 for heroic. So that's 2. Triggers prowess, so this becomes 2 power, and then I can pump Dragon Mantle 3 times. So I should just be able to win with this play here. And attack. And now I can pump 3 times. 1, pump 2, and pump 3. Alright, sweet. Wow. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. We were able to beat a control deck through a bunch of removal spells because of the power of like God's Willings and Negates and things like that. So, I don't know, that was a pretty interesting match, I thought. This deck's definitely resilient. Like, we get to see how resilient this deck is to Drown in Sorrow, End Hostilities, Bile Blight, you know, etc., etc., etc. The deck has a lot of resiliency to it. So hopefully you enjoyed this round. Going to be back next round for the 4th and final round where we fight for our life to see if we can 3-1 and cash this daily or not. So definitely stay tuned for that. Hopefully it'll be as exciting as some of these last few rounds were.